In just a few moments, I am going to be talking about robotics education in Japan. It's their way of life that I love so much. So let's go. Hello, this is Stephanie, and this is Truth Detective. You know, I am your personal truth detective, giving you the facts and evidence about society, culture, our justice system, corruption, U.S. news, world news, just about anything that you want to know about. I will give you the true explanation, evidence, facts, because, as we all know, that's when the real truth comes out. I want to take a moment right now to thank you so much for tuning in, and for the new listeners of Truth Detective, thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy this episode and continue to listen to all of my episodes. It's the beginning, a new year. We all can breathe easy. Kind of, but for many reasons. Maybe it's the beginning of a commitment to a new challenge that you made for yourself, or a new job that is exciting for you. Whatever it is fantastic. Memories, ideas, and passions that we have or once had flood our minds once again. And so we are going to spend the next year or so doing just that, and hopefully getting some sense of order back in our life. And I wish those future endeavors for you now and always. For today's episode, I am talking about Japan. We haven't heard much about Japan lately, but I think it's time for a turn of subject, something optimistic and hopeful about our future by way of an example of a country that does it so right. You know, I've always had an affinity for Japan. The food, the gorgeous nature, the official kimono style of dress, the town of Kyoto, and the geishas that are there. Full of history, unknown to most Westerners. For me, it was when I was in high school that I enrolled in a course in Japan, culture and society. That was what I fell in love with. I learned about the civilized, industrious culture and society of Japan. The Japanese government is a democracy that enables individuals to learn, grow, and have personal interests that enable them to go into any field or profession that they wish. Usually STEM-oriented, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. And yes, Japan may be in Asia, but they are worlds apart from other countries in Asia. We mostly hear about other countries like China, with advancing technology and products and goods that the United States buys that come from China. Yes, there has been little fanfare about Japan, as China has taken a certain lead in the news. As Silicon Valley and Chinese developers began to explore the Internet of Things, big data, and AI, artificial intelligence, other countries, including Japan, have fallen behind. But nonetheless, their daunting work in robotics hasn't stopped Japan's love for robots, and it has always been borderline obsessive with the Japanese. But the country is now more than ever poised to embrace artificial intelligence and leverage great solutions. You see, Japan is different. They don't have to wait to realize their future. That's because most Japanese are spending much of their waking moments working in or learning STEM. Remember, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Careers and robotics falls nicely into those wonderful, futuristic wonders. Japan's schools have always been huge proponents of STEM and encourage the early age school children to embrace those topics as potential jobs for the future. Yes, Japan is always moving full steam ahead with their active love of robotics. In Japan, popular robots include humanoid, entertainment robots, androids, animal robots, social robots, guard robots, and many more. Each type has a variety of characteristics. Japan employs over 250,000 industrial robot workers. In the next 15 years, it's estimated that number will jump to over 1 million. Robotics revenue by 2025 is expected to reach $70 billion. And here's something about ASIMO. What's ASIMO, you ask? A robot named Advanced Step in Innovative Mobility, who is a humanoid robot created by Honda in 2000. It is displayed in a museum in Tokyo, Japan, as of now. You see, on July 8th, 2018, Honda posted the last update of ASIMO through their official page, stating that it would be ceasing all development and production of ASIMO robots to focus on more practical applications using the technology developed through ASIMO's lifespan. The name was chosen in honor of Isaac Asimov. In reality, Japan has always been on the move in the robotic industry. In many, 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 many ways, Japan is light years ahead in robotics and other technologies than the United States and China have been thus far. In a Harvard Business Journal article entitled How Japan Uses AI and Robotics to Solve Social Issues and Achieve Economic Growth, it says here that it describes Japan as rapidly moving towards Society 5.0. as the world adds an ultra-smart chapter to the earlier 4 stages of human development: hunter-gatherer, gregarian, which is farming, industrial, and information. Society 5.0 is where all things are connected and integrated through technology. Japan is focused on helping companies, including startups and hidden gems among small and mid-sized enterprises, to come up with brand new and innovative ideas to provide the world with solutions. As the 3rd biggest economy globally, Japan was once a leader when it came to disruptive, innovative technology. What's that? Well, think of pocket calculators, the Sony Walkman, and LED lights. In an article entitled Robots in Japan from the japanguide.com, it says, Japan is faced with an aging society, sidebar, much like America is, and Japan's robot technology continues to diversify to robots for healthcare and other services, including robotic exoskeletons that provide workers with additional support for lifting people or heavy objects, and companion robots for both the elderly and the young. If you are a tourist, then you can view and experience robots in an increasing number of places in Japan. Well, that sounds pretty cool. A matter of fact, there is nothing I see here to be concerned about. It matches exactly what I have already known about Japan: beautiful and industrious. And most of us know that Japan has always led the way in so many advancements. In entertainment, there has been a huge American following with the tremendous success of the anime art genre that only the Japanese could craft so beautifully. See here on Wikipedia, it says that anime began with the term mecha, referring to both scientific ideas and science fiction genres that center on giant robots or machines, mechas, controlled by people. Mechas are typically depicted as humanoid walking vehicles. The term was first used in Japanese, mecha, after shortening the English loanword mechanism or mechanical. But the meaning in Japanese is more inclusive, and robot or giant robot is the narrower term. These machines vary greatly in size and shape, but are distinguished from vehicles by their humanoid or biomorphic appearance and size, bigger than a human. Different subgenres exist with varying connotations of realism. The concept of super robot and real robot are 2 such examples found in the Japanese anime art form. The term may also refer to real-world piloted humanoid or non-humanoid robotic platforms, either currently in existence or still on the drawing board, the planning or designing stage. No doubt, Japan has strong cultural, societal, entertainment, and artistic disciplines in place to make their country flourish like no other. You see, the Japanese at their core are a caring, peaceful people that are bred to be hardworking but humble. And that's great. Japan is a complete democracy where curiosity in robotics, art, and entertainment is all welcomed. The Japanese have always had a love for robotics dating back to the early 1900s when anime was in its infancy. A matter of fact, anime as an art form began with the concept of robots or robotics. But there's more, so much more. Japan's love and hard work ethics and habits of studying, analyzing, and creating robotics supports the citizens of the country in great ways. Here's an article on the International Federation of Robotics. Japan is the world's predominant robot manufacturing country, where even robots assemble robots. 47% of the global robot production are made in Nippon, Japan. And if you, like myself, love robotics and supreme, interesting, cool, and usefulness of the robotics, then you'll want to make room in your schedule for the, wait for it, International Robot Exhibition 2022 that happens in Tokyo in March. Here is an example of what they'll be doing. The International Robot Exhibition was first held in 1974, and it has been held once every 2 years since then, making this the 24th exhibition. It is highly regarded both in Japan and abroad as one of the largest robot exhibitions in the world. The International Robot Exhibition 2022 is based on the theme of, quote, the way towards friendlier society, bridged by robots, end quote. And I couldn't agree more. We need this. And it is held with the goal of working towards a society where humans and robots can exist and cooperate. During the exhibition, advanced technologies related to robotics, such as artificial intelligence, AI, information and communication technology, ICT, and elemental technologies, ET, in addition to the latest robots from Japan and around the world, will be available to look at. The exhibition featured robots, including humanoid and manufacturing robots, made by 199 companies and 66 organizations. During the event, there are special robotic events for children and several robotic sports events. There are robot dancing and karaoke contests. Sounds like fun. And here's a quirky piece of info. In May of 2010, for the first time ever, a marriage was led by a robot. A couple were married in a ceremony at a Tokyo restaurant presided over by a iFairy, a humanoid robot manufactured by the Kokora company. On the Tokyo-esque website, I found other many useful robotic applications that are currently being utilized in Japan. How about Japan's AI-powered robots to the rescue during COVID-19? Oh yes, it's true. Servi is a robot in Japan enjoying increasing popularity in the restaurant sector as it provides waiting service devoid of physical human contact. And there is Pepper, a robot optimized for engineering with people through conversations and a touch screen. It can recognize faces and basic human emotions to welcome, inform, and entertain people in innovative ways. Now Pepper is being used in many establishments around the world to welcome customers, detecting whether they are wearing a mask or not. It can kindly remind customers to wear masks while screening people's temperature through a thermal computer. Within the healthcare space, Pepper can support doctors, nurses, and hospitals by automating repetitive tasks, and it is helpful in maintaining the link between patients and their families, in particular those who are confined to places such as nursing homes. Well, that sounds pretty cool. Pepper is the world's first social humanoid robot able to recognize faces and basic human emotions. Pepper was optimized for human interaction and can engage with people through conversation and his touchscreen. Pepper is available today for businesses and schools. Over 2,000 companies around the world have adopted Pepper. And what about smart cities in Japan? They are popping up all over. Here's how it happens. There are manufacturers like Toyota or Panasonic, for example, that build cities of the future. So here, let's talk about the Toyota Woven City, a smart city like many others that are popping up all around the country. At the beginning of 2020, Toyota announced its plan to build a city of the future at the base of Mount Fuji. It is set to be fully connected, ecosystem powered by hydrogen fuel cells, home to 2,000 full-time residents and researchers who will test and develop technologies such as autonomy, robotics, mobility, smart homes, and AI on site. Sounds like a pretty cool job. This smart city is planned to be fully sustainable, with the buildings being constructed of neutral wood, using a combination of traditional Japanese joinery and robotic production methods, rooftops covered with photo panels to generate extra solar power, native vegetation integrated throughout the city, and street usage designated 3 ways: fast vehicles, low-speed vehicles, and pedestrians only. Toyota is working with the Danish company BIG to do this, founded by Björk Ingels, whose architectural prowess includes 2 World Trade Center in New York and the Lego House in Denmark. So what is the future of smart cities? Smart cities in Japan have been regarded as efficient solutions to current and future problems and have never been as vital as they are now. More than 200 companies, local governments, universities, and public sectors have joined the Smart City Institute, with more international companies looking to Japan for its advanced technology and world-leading services. The industry has a lot of opportunities to invest in. Okay, so we think that's cool. But how about robots for individuals with disabilities wanting to work but are unable to leave their home? That could be problematic, but not in Japan. In the Japan Times, here's an article. Tokyo Robot Cafe offers new spin on disability inclusion. In the article, it says, at a Tokyo cafe, Mikio Amai greets a customer, but not in person. He's hundreds of kilometers away, operating a robot waiter as part of an experiment in inclusive employment, and I am all about that. Dawn's Cafe's robots are intended to be more than a gimmick, offering job opportunities to people who find it hard to work outside the home. Amai is behind the controls at his home in Hiroshima, 800 kilometers away, one of around 50 employees with physical and mental disabilities who work as Dawn's pilots, operating robot staff, as well as some who work on site. It was originally supposed to open last year to coincide with the Paralympics, but the opening was postponed by the pandemic. Around 20 miniature robots with almond-shaped eyes sit on tables and in other parts of the cafe, which has no stairs and smooth wooden floors large enough for wheelchairs. The machines feature cameras, a microphone, and a speaker to allow operators to communicate with customers remotely. May I take your order? One asks, next to a tablet showing a menu of burgers, curry, and salad. He says, I talk to our customers about many subjects, including the weather, my hometown, and my health condition. He has a somatic symptom disorder that makes leaving home difficult. As long as I'm alive, he says, I want to give something back to the community by working. I feel happy if I can be a part of society. Disabled or not, isn't that what all of us want? Other operators have a range of different abilities, including some individuals who use eye movements on a special digital panel to send signals to the robots. How cool is that? The project is the brainchild of Kentaro Yoshifuji, an entrepreneur who co-founded the company that makes the robots. After suffering a bout of bad health as a child that left him unable to go to school, he began thinking about ways to bring people into the workforce, even if they can't leave home. He says here, I'm thinking about how people can have job options when they want to work. This is a place where people can participate in society. The cafe's launch comes as the 2020 Paralympics got underway and the disabled advocates debate Japan's progress in inclusion and accessibility. Since Tokyo won the bid to host the Games in 2013, it has touted efforts to make public facilities more accessible. And that's such a great thing. but support for inclusion remains limited, said the head of a nonprofit organization that supports employment for people with disabilities. Yes, indeed, robotics for the use of helping those citizens that need it the most, the elderly, the children, and the disabled, are excellent, and I applaud that incentive. But what makes the Japanese so interested in robotics in the first place? Now we turn to Japanese robotics and early education with this article from the Advocate website. Here on this website, there is an article entitled 5 Reasons to Teach Robotics in School. Robotics is a simpler to understand and more tangible introduction to programming. When students program physical robots, it's easier for them to see what goes wrong as they learn what robots can and cannot do. They learn the skills needed to create precise and accurate instructions and have fun while learning valuable lessons. Teaching robotics in school gives students the opportunity to address the growing demand of teaching STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and how they work together and interact. Here are the principles taught in schools in Japan that help students with disciplines and growth for the real world in all areas. Well, let's start with the number one thing that students need the most in the classroom. If it's going to be in our future, there must be an introduction to programming. When students program physical robots, it's easier for them to see what goes wrong as they learn what robots can and cannot do. They learn the skills needed to create precise and accurate instructions and have fun while learning valuable lessons. It increases creativity. Not a lot of fields combine creativity with engineering and technology. No, robotics does, though. When students are given the opportunity to create something interactive that they think is cool, their engagement levels increase and they retain more information. You might be surprised at the things kids can create when given the right information and tools. It prepares them for the future. When students are introduced to robotics in their school years, they can discover any interests and talents that they may have in the job market. Without the knowledge or access to robotics education, there's no way for students to build interest in these fields. Without robotics education in public schools, who knows how many potential creators and innovators there are who were never given the resources to realize their potential. Isn't that the truth? Teaching children how to turn frustration into innovation. Learning how to build and program a robot can be a complex and difficult process, there's no doubt. Many students will struggle with the concepts at first, often getting frustrated. Robotics in schools can help these students turn their frustration into creativity and innovation. This is a valuable life lesson that teaches our students perseverance and determination when faced with challenges. Not only does teaching students robotics teach them how to persist and solve problems, but it also helps them increase their maturity levels and prepares them for real-world situations. How about promoting inclusivity? Sounds like a great idea. I bet you never thought of robots as doing that. Well, studies have shown robots do a great job of engaging students on the autism spectrum. Children with autism are able to easily respond to the consistent, calm, and clean interactions that robots give them. Robotics is also a field that can empower young girls in the classroom, something that we desperately need to do. STEM-focused fields are traditionally male-dominated, leaving young girls to question their ability to program or build computers. Because the tech world is not one that focuses on or is created for girls, by engaging them with robotics and technology in the classroom, we can begin to change that. When girls realize their ability to build robots and program, they are empowered to have successful futures and create innovative technology. And that is so great. This would be wonderful if we would have the same education for American children as Japan has to prepare our children and young adults for STEM and the robotic future that we will most certainly have. From now on, we must think of Japan as a country that gives citizens what is needed now to survive and thrive. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is a learning lesson on the topic we need to do better with. That would be a win-win for everybody. Well, Japan seems to have it all, and if you wanted to visit anywhere in the world, I would choose Japan for you. You will learn so much and come home thinking differently about the world. If you enjoyed this episode on Japan, you can go to the website truthdetectivepodcast.com to listen to this episode again and share it. Read the show notes that will have all the links to the websites. And there's a little bio on me if you're wondering what I'm all about. You can also follow and subscribe to get the notifications of when new episodes come out. And what is cooler than that? Well, that is it for this episode, but I will see you next time on Truth Detective. Okay, bye-bye.